Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. Today I am finally doing my August wrap up. It has been another month of reading and in the August I read an amount of 13 books. A lot of these were arcs, so luckily I am gonna film like on review for a lot of them, so I won't be talking that long about those books at least. And hopefully this video won't last for like 3 billion years because it's a wrap up. The first book I read in August was Black Wings Beating by Alex London. It's a book that was released last year and I really was excited for it because I heard that it was queer. So I have forgotten the main characters' names because I suck with them, but it basically follows the two twins that lost their father when they were young because he was hunting this bird called a ghost eagle, and in this world they hunt birds and tame them, and like that is their profession. They live in this really tiny town far away from people, but like they're all really close and there's like trade going on there. They do have their own bird trade thing going on where the brother of the two twins, again can't remember the name, sorry, he does the hunting and the sister does the selling and stuff. They have been poor for a long time, and when their dad died he left them with a lot of debt, and they've been paying that down for years and hoping when they have paid that all down they can be free and leave that place that they are living in. However, the girl of the twins has this gift to sort of speak to birds and tame them in that way, like magical abilities that she hasn't really explored and been sort of scared of, so that is a conflict that's starting there. And the boy has a boyfriend, and the boyfriend needs money really quickly, so the boy agreed to go out and hunts the ghost eagle that has never been captured before, and most people die that hunts it. So that is where our story is. First of all, I really enjoyed the interesting world that we had here surrounding birds. You know, Black Wings Beating gives the title, and I really enjoyed the whole world building and the world we lived in, and I'm really excited to see how it's explored more in Red Skies Falling, which I believe actually is out now, but I'm in Japan, so my book buying is like at its low. I really just enjoy the world and journey and the different dynamics between the two twins. We follow both of their perspectives, so we get to see their sides of the story all the time. And also we follow this other perspective going around the country because there's this kind of rebellion thing, revolution sort of war brewing that we also follow and get to see. So I'm interested to see how it would all play out. I feel like it was more of a bit original YA fantasy, and I really enjoy that. I read a lot of the same, I feel like sometimes, even though I generally just, that's my favorite genre and I would never stop reading it. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I don't know what to say, so let's just move on. I then read The Beautiful by Renata Adeye. A full review will be up of this very soon if it's not already up. As well as Celine, who runs from New York after something tragic happens and moves to New Orleans in 1872. And it also has vampires, or like it's a vampire book, that is what it's being promoted as. I have thoughts, and I just filmed a review actually, so I just talked about this, but overall I just feel like the expectations that we're giving for this book did not live up to what it was delivering. It's more of a romance novel more than a vampire novel. Not that it's a vampire romance novel even, because vampires weren't that present, I would say, even though we have this murder mystery going on seeming to target Celine and stuff. You can see more of my thoughts in my review, but overall I did really enjoy the parts I enjoyed a lot. So like Celine is half Asian and stuff, so that was also really nice. But I gave it 3.75 out of 5 stars to be very specific. I am excited for the new one to get more answers than the ones we got in this one, because we didn't really get that many, if any, answers. I then read Sparrowhawk by Delilah S. Dawson and Matthias Basla. This one was a graphic novel that I got from NetGalley. My full review is up for this, but basically it is actually a fairy story where the main character goes into fairy after being thrown into there by the current fairy queen, and she does everything to go back home, where she has to become more powerful to go back home, but to become more powerful she has to kill. So she loses herself more and more, you would say, to become more powerful to get out into the other world again. The end had a really dark twist and I really enjoyed that, and I was very pleasantly surprised by this, so I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, and I recommend checking out my full review for more thoughts. I will link it down below. I then read The Firekeeper by by G.C. Cervantes. This is the second book in the Stormrunner series, which is based on Mayan mythology. We follow Saint Abisbo, who finds out that he is godborn from one of the Mayan gods, which is illegal, by the way, so the gods wants to kill them. He's also prophesied to release the god of death out of his prison, thereby, you know, dooming the world. That's what the first book is about. This is the sequel, which was released the 3rd of September, and we just follow Saint Abisbo's more adventures in this really magical, nice world. I really love this. It is Rick Riordan presents, so it reminds me a lot of Percy Jackson, just with new and different mythology, and that is really enjoyable. And I recommend checking out my full review for this book that I will leave link down below if you're interested in more thoughts. I give this 4 out of 5 stars, if I remember correctly. I then read Clockwork Prince by Cassandra Clare. This one I listened to on audiobook, which was read by Ed Westwick and Heather Lind, but mostly I bought this for Ed Westwick a long time ago, and it was so worth it. This one is the prequel series to The Mortal Instruments, set in the 18 something. That was great. It's a reread. I already read this and I enjoyed it a lot. I reread Clockwork Angel earlier this year and I found out that I didn't really love it as much as the first time, but I would say that I loved this one. It's the first time I read it and I really enjoyed it. I don't know what more to say. If I remember correctly, I think I rated it 5 out of 5 stars because I'm trash for James Crastiers, and here you just get to see him and Will so much more. I will listen to the 3rd book on audiobook as well soon, I hope, and my heart would break, but it's so worth it. This series, man, I just really enjoy Will, Tessa and Jam. They are so precious and I miss them a lot. I also read Assassin's Crest by Robin Hobb, which is the 3rd and final book in the Farseer trilogy. I really wanted to finish this series this year and I did it. It was like 800 pages long, I think. It's intimidating because I read Robin Hobb really slow. It's adult fantasy. If you don't know what the Farseer is, it's the first book in the realm of the Elden Ring series. She has like a lot of books set in that world, and this is the first series in that world. This series follows Fitz, who is the bastard of the King of Waiting in the Six Duchies, which is the kingdom they live in the series, and he is also trained as an assassin, which sounds like so the typical fantasy setup here, but it's just so good because Robin Hobb is a master writer. She writes so well and her characters and world is one of the best I ever read. It's seriously like a masterpiece of fantasy. I feel like if you're interested in fantasy and you still haven't checked out Robin Hobb, you just should. The whole series just follows Fitz's whole life and it's just the best thing ever. I feel like the first book was very good and I really enjoyed it, but the second book I loved. It took the series to such a new level and I just did not expect and see things coming. The 3rd book just put everything of those 2 books together in this amazing conclusion. It's slow and beautiful and it just breathes beautifully. Like, it's not like a fast-paced fantasy with like a beginning, a middle and then a conclusion. It's just breathes the whole time evenly kinda, and I just love it so much. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. It was beautiful. I was screaming and crying and I just enjoyed it so much. It was worth the 8 days it took to read it because 100 pages a day took me like 2 hours each day to read, but it was worth it. I can't wait to continue with her books. I heard that her ship books are her best, at least like from a person I really trust the judgment of, so I can't wait with that series, which is the next one in the order if you read in the order. Yeah, I recommend more than anything. The next book I read was Loki, Where Mischief Lies by Mackenzie Lee. This one is an arc as well and I have a full review up on my channel. This is Loki's origin story. I don't know if it's supposed to be seen as canon. It is in collaboration with Marvel and everything. I personally thought that it didn't feel like a Loki story. It felt more like a fanfic, but not like particularly a good one. It just felt really out of character and the whole story was way too simplified to be like a Loki story. I just feel like it was not justification enough for how Loki decides to become the villain, and I just feel like everything could have been explored more. But again, more thoughts in my full review. I gave it like 3 out of 5 stars. I didn't like it, I didn't hate it, but it just felt really flat for me. which was a bit sad because I was very excited for it. The next one I read was A Girl This Year Give Back by Adrienne Young, which is the arc I got from NetGalley. This one is a companion to Skyny Deep that was released last year, I believe, and it's like Viking inspired stories. This one follows the main character Tova, I actually remembered her name, and she believes she was sacrificed when she was a child and can see the future in runes that she casts, and she lives in this village that like really hate her and are scared of her. It's amazing that she's still alive actually, and they want war, and a war does start. And we see characters again from Skyny Deep. If you read that, I do recommend reading that before, because this spoils the end of Skyny Deep if you're interested in that, but like you don't have to read Skyny Deep to read this one. I enjoyed it enough. I just don't really care for war and Viking stories that much, so I gave it like 3 out of 5 stars. It was totally fine. Again, check out my full review for more thoughts. There's gonna be so many links down below. My next book was The Shameless Daughter by Lena Cabral. This one is an originally Danish book that was released many years ago. She wrote them in English herself, the author, and it was again released many years ago. It is being republished with new nice covers. I got my arc from NetGalley, even though I could have just read it anyway, but I got a free copy at least. And I actually read this book before a long time ago in Norwegian, and I really enjoyed it then, and I had sort of forgotten how much I enjoyed it, and now I remembered, and I was like, this story is so wholesome and cute. It follows the main character Dina, who is the shameless daughter, and that means that she can look into people's eyes and see what they are ashamed of and sort of give them shame, also with her voice making them feel ashamed and like command them. So her mother's job is to like go out and find out if people are guilty of different crimes, because she can see if they're ashamed of it, and she's called into this one job that turns out to be pretty damn dark, and then Dina is called in to help her, and the story spans from there. It's only like a 208 pages long book. It does happen a lot in that really short time. The end is sort of summarized a bit, but that's fine, and I feel like it's a great beginning to a series of 4 books, and they're all being, as I said, rebranded in these new nice covers, so I really recommend checking that out. It's like, the main character is like 11, so it's a bit for a younger audience, but of course an older audience can enjoy whatever the heck they want. I enjoyed it a lot, and it was so nice to revisit this series. Again, check out my full review. And we're moving on. And read Frankly in Love by David Yoon. This one is also an arc that I got, and my full review is up on my channel. I feel like I'm just repeating myself. This one follows Frankly, who is a Korean American, and his parents expect him to date a Korean American or Korean girl in general, but he falls for a white girl, and then he fake dates this other Korean girl to make it believe for his parents that he's actually dating a Korean girl. It has the fake dating trope. It is the fake dating trope you're seeing everywhere when people talk about this book. It also has so much more than that. I feel like the fake dating trope actually came a bit in the back in the end, like it wasn't really about that, and it sort of went away. It doesn't mean that it wasn't fun and nice to have, but it's not really the center of the book at all. It's about family and friendship and identity. There's loads of nice discussions about racism and white privilege and being Asian in a white world, in a white privilege world. I could relate to that a lot, but there was a lot of the parts of the book that I didn't relate to, like being in a really Asian strict family, but it was nice to learn and just see Franklin's point of view, and I just really enjoyed the book a lot, and I definitely recommend it. And again, check out my full review for more thoughts. 4 out of 5 stars to this one, even though I didn't actually enjoy the writing that much. The writing really annoyed me. So considering how high rating I'm giving it, considering that I sort of hated writing, sort of really disliked writing, says a lot about the good standards in this book. I then read Nevernight by Jay Kristoff, which I finally picked up after seeing it around for forever. Nevernight follows Mia, who is training to be an assassin, and do I say more than that? It sounds like a very typical plot. Like I already talked in this video about another assassin book, but it does have a lot of things that differs in it. I feel like it's written in a very different tone and style than other books I read about assassins. It's also not YA, it is an adult book. I did really enjoy it. It had elements that I really liked. The story did sort of go somewhere I expected, like the plot twist didn't twist me that much, but I overall enjoyed it a lot. I feel like I don't really have that much to say about this because I liked it and that's it. And it was dark and twisty and stabby, and it had sex in it, which was great because who doesn't love a nice sex scene. I'm more excited to see actually how the story will go and how this one went, but I really enjoyed Mia as a character and her abilities, and I'm excited to explore it more. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. This was a great, really short review of this book. I then read The Humiliations of Pipi McGee by Beth Robel. This one is an arc that I got from NetGalley, and it is being released on the 17th of September. My review will be up if it's not already up when you're watching this. I have no idea when the order of my videos goes up. But this one follows Pipi McGee, who has had like unfortunate accidents happen to her whole life in every year of school. So she's been bullied and like teased about this her whole life, and she's like determined to change this and make all the horrible things that happened to her that she's been bullied for go away. It is a really great novel and I really enjoyed it. I love the lessons you learn from this. I love Pipi as a character and the other elements that this book had that I will discuss more in my review. But it's a really wholesome, really great novel that I think a lot of people could enjoy. It was very sweet and nice and had a lot of different varieties in the middle grade that I haven't really seen before, so I really enjoyed that and I hope a lot of people will pick it up. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, and again we'll discuss it more in a full video review coming soon at some point in my life. And the last book I read in August were The Grey Sisters by Joe Tregari. This one is also an arc that I got from NetGalley and it's being released on the 24th of September. Again, a full review will be up. I'm literally like a CD on repeat. This book was very strange and I barely remember what it's about. No, I do remember, I just don't know how to articulate what to say what it's about. So it follows these 3 girls. They lost their brother and sister in this plane crash that happened in these mountains, and it's about them taking a car trip to the accident crash site to try to get some closure. And they also follow this other girl named Ariel who lives in the mountains in this compound community place thing, and it's really strange that they go out like in the forest to try to live there, and one of her friends is attacked by a bear. So that happened, and like the whole conclusion and what really the book is about is just so strange. I can't spoil it, I just feel like this book was very strange. The more I thought about it, the less I liked it. It's actually pretty dark, but it's also just kind of sad and not really that enjoyable. So I will, I guess, cover more in my review. I think I gave it 3 or 2 stars or something around that. It was a weird ride, but at least I read it so I can review it and get a good percent on NetGalley. That was all the books I read in August, so I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed me talking about the books I read in August. Share down below some of the books you read if you want to, and you'll see me soon in a new video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!